Okay, so east is dealer, and east-west are not vulnerable, north-south are vulnerable. So we've got 8 points, completely balanced hand. 8 points is enough to do some kind of preemptive bid, but unfortunately here we don't have a long suit really. We'd need a much longer, we need a 6-card suit or longer. So 8 points in a completely balanced hand as dealer is a nice easy pass to begin with. Okay, now to south. Wow, south's hand is even worse than east. South has got a completely balanced hand again and only 2 points. So this is going to be a very easy pass also. Now to west. Has west got anything of interest? Okay, so west hand isn't particularly good either, which means north must have a good one. West has got 7 points and an unbalanced hand. So not unreasonable to bid, but not as an opener. You might overcall 1 diamond with this hand or something along those lines. If we were to open this hand, we would have to be kind of a weak 2 style hand, which would mean we'd need 6 cards in a suit, so we'd need an extra diamond to open 2 diamonds, for example. So west is also passing. Okay, now round to north, who presumably has the good hand. And there it is. Wow, very good. We've got, hang on a minute, we've got 9, 19, 23 points. Wow, what a mega hand this is. So, whenever you've got a hand that feels too strong to open 1, the correct opening bid is 2 clubs. Now, the problem with that is feel is a bit of a misleading, that is it a gut feel thing. So you need some parameters as to when to open 2 clubs or not. So a 2 club opener is either 23 points or more, if balanced, or it's 3 losers or better, if unbalanced. Now in this instance, we are unbalanced, we have 2 2s, but we also have 23 points. So we qualify on all fronts with this hand. So this is a clear-cut 2 club opener, just to count losers, just to prove it's right on that as well. We have 1, 2, 3. So as an unbalanced hand, with 3 losers or better, you can open 2 clubs. What that tells you is you might open 2 clubs with less than 23 points if unbalanced. You only need 23 or more if you are balanced, because if you are balanced with, say, 21, you could open 2 no trumps, which shows 20 to 22. So here the correct opening bid is 2 clubs, and then we're going to bid our spades to show that we have a long spade suit, ideally twice to show that we have 6 cards in spades. For now we're going to open 2 clubs to let our partner know we've got a mega strong hand and we want to be in game as a minimum. So 2 clubs for now. Okay, so overcalling over a 2 club opener, obviously that's a very strong bid, that's the strongest bid in the box. So to bid after a 2 club opener, what you need is a lot of shape. You will very rarely have a lot of points. So to make an overcall after a 2 club opening sequence, you need a really long suit, a preemptive style hand. Now in this instance, if North had that, they would have already bid. So therefore, bidding over this 2 club bid now would be very surprising. One further thing to notice is that 2 clubs does not necessarily show clubs. So what you can do is you can double the 2 clubs, which says, I would have bid clubs naturally. Whenever it's an artificial bid, if you choose to double it, it shows that you would have bid that suit naturally. So this 2 club bid is artificial, so therefore we would have doubled to say, we could double to say that we have a club suit. Now you could argue double is reasonable here, we've got ace and jack of clubs. The problem is it's not clubby enough, if that's a thing. What I mean is I wouldn't overcall clubs, so you would want longer or stronger clubs, ideally longer really, to be doubling this 2 club bid to show clubs. So I think unfortunately it feels like we're going to be passing through out here and hoping to defeat them in whatever contract they end up in, which will be game or higher we assume. So it looks like north-south are passing throughout and it's going to be an east-west only sequence from here on out. Okay, so back to north. North wasn't envisaging on bidding very much on this hand until their partner just opened the big strong bid. So you have to respond to 2 clubs for 2 reasons. 1, clubs isn't necessarily clubs, 2 clubs is artificial. And 2, your partner wants to go to game as a minimum. So they've got 23 plus, etc., as we've already discussed. So my style in responding to a two club opening bid is known as the relay style or the waiting style, which is to bid 2 diamonds as a relay bid on all hands. What I mean by that is any 13 cards bids 2 diamonds in response to 2 clubs if allowed. The downside to that method is that the responder does not show strength or lack thereof. The upside is it gives the 2 club hand as much room as they possibly can to be able to describe their hand. The responder is the one who decides how high to go after a 2 club opener because they know how strong their partner's bid is. They also know how strong, or not in this case, their hand is. But for now you bid 2 diamonds and you don't show anything, and later we will show our strength and our shape. So 2 diamonds for now, wait to see what the 2 clubber is, balanced or unbalanced, and wait to see if we can find a fit. So my style is always 2 diamonds as a relay, so I actually don't even need to look at the hand. If my partner opens 2 clubs, the correct bid is 2 diamonds. Okay, so back to the good hand. East-west are passing throughout, as mentioned earlier, so it'll just be north and south toing and froing here. And our job after opening a 2 club opener is to now describe our nature. So once you've opened 2 clubs, to say I've got 23 points or a hand that's equivalent, i.e. 3 losers, you then want to say, okay, here's my nature. I'm balanced or I'm unbalanced, and I've got spades and hearts, or I've got clubs and diamonds, or I'm balanced with X amount of points, etc. So in this instance, we want to show that we're unbalanced and we only have 1 suit to bid. This is known as a single suited unbalanced hand because we have a single suit we actually want to bid. So we're going to bid 2 spades. We don't need to jump around and bid 3 spades or 4 spades. Our partner knows when we open 2 clubs that we want to go to game as a minimum. And that's because we have a 3 loser, and a 3 loser should yield game. So we're going to bid 2 spades for now, hoping to find a fit. It's possible our partner doesn't like spades at all and we end up in 3 no trumps, or maybe we play in hearts if our partner has lots of hearts, for example. In this instance, we're going to bid spades, and then probably spades again, depending on whether our partner agrees spades or bid hearts or no trumps or whatever. But for now, we're definitely bidding 2 spades with the plan of probably bidding spades again to show 6 in a minute. So 2 spades for now, starting off an unbalanced shape. Okay, so after the 2 club 2 diamond scenario, we haven't learnt much about the shape of each other's hand, but we've learnt that North obviously has a very strong hand and South has not necessarily a very weak hand, but in this case that's true. So the primary objective after a 2 club 2 diamond sequence is to find a fit. Once you find a fit, hopefully in a major, obviously, you can then decide whether we're going to play in game or more than game. Remember, the 2 club opener insists upon game. So you are not entitled to pass because your partner's hand is too strong. You cannot leave them out of game. That's what a 2 club opener says. So you have to bid game even if you don't want to. Even if they're dragging you, kicking and screaming, you have to be in game as a minimum because their 3 loser says they're going to make game off their own back once you find a trump fit. So in this instance, we need to decide, first of all, do we have a fit? If not, we need to keep exploring and showing our long suit or showing if we're balanced. And the next thing is, if we do have a fit, are we interested in game or more than game? Now, because our partner has chosen to bid spades rather than no trumps, we know that they are unbalanced. We know that because if they were balanced, they would bid no trumps. So because we know they're unbalanced, we know that they should have 5 or more spades. They've either got 5 spades in a 4-card suit elsewhere, or they've got 6 cards in spades. There is one exception. The exception is a 4-4-4-1 hand. And that hand is a nightmare in basically all bidding circumstances because it's the only unbalanced hand that doesn't have a 5-card suit. You have to kind of semi-ignore 4-4-4-1 hands because they don't really fit nicely into this pattern. You have to choose whether to treat them as balanced or unbalanced. If our partner did have 4-4-4-1, they wouldn't choose spades as their first suit anyway. They'd choose a minor to try and not lie about the length in a major. So therefore, 2 spades is 5 cards or more, so we do have a fit. It's an important differentiation to realise after a 2 club opener. If your partner bids a suit, they are A, unbalanced, and B, must therefore have 5 cards or more in that suit. So we have a spade fit. That's a really key thing to notice. 3 plus 5 is a fit. At least 5, that is. They might have 6 or 7. So we have a spade fit. So the next thing now is to choose how many spades are we playing in. Remember, we cannot leave them outside of game because that's what the 2 club opener says. So what that tells us is the faster we get to game, the weaker our hand is. It's a strange set of circumstances. Because we're game forced, we have to be in game. So if we go straight to game, what we're saying is, I wish no further bidding to happen. If we were interested in more than game, i.e. slam, we would go slower. It's a rare occurrence that 3 would be stronger than 4 because of the game forcing nature of the opening 2 club bid. So therefore, I'm going to agree spades, and with this hand, because it's dreadfully bad, I'm going to bid 4 spades straight away to say, I've heard you've got a really good hand over there, partner. I have no interest in anything further than game. We actually think game might not even make, our hand is really that bad, but you've got to be in game because of the 2 club opening bid. So we're going to go 4 spades, not 3 spades, because we can agree with spades, our partner has 5 or more, and we want them to not do any more bidding. We want to stop in game as fast as we can. So straight to 4 spades. Okay, so now back to North, a 2 club opener. Now, looking at this hand, it's really hard to agree with your partner that it isn't a slam hand. Your partner's just been straight to 4 spades, which tells us to go away, pretty much. It's hard because you're thinking, well, I only need you to have 2 cards. If you've got the king of spades and the ace of clubs, that will be enough. Or if you've got the king of diamonds and the ace of clubs, or even, we might be able to make a slam if a finesse works. It's really hard to look at this hand and imagine that game is the limit. But what you have to do after a 2 club opening sequence is trust the responder will look for a slam if that is applicable. If your partner had 7, 8 points, they would know 7 plus 23 makes 30-ish. They would look for a slam. So their 4 spade bid basically denies any slam interest. So as the 2 club opener, you have to trust them. As hard as it is looking at a hand like this to go, I'm not going to go for a slam. It looks like you want to be in slam almost on your own, but it's not quite that good. You need some help from your partner, and your partner's 4 spade bid is telling you they don't have that help. So you have to trust them and pass and leave yourself in game, disappointed that your partner did not have the hand to match yours to be able to make a slam. So trust your partner. The responder's the one in control. They're in the driving seat. They've said game's the limit, so you have to trust them. Okay, so opening lead against 4 spades. Not a particularly thrilling hand to lead from. We do have extra information here that we know North's hand is very strong because they open 2 clubs, so they've got lots of points, and South's hand is not because they've tried to play in game and no more. So here, what I would like to do is just eliminate suits. You don't really want to lead away from strong suits into the 2 club hand. So I wouldn't be leading a low trump because that would potentially give away the king. We might not make the king depending on the position of the cards. And I definitely wouldn't lead a club. Very rarely a right thing to do to lead away from an ace, especially in this context where we suspect the king and or queen are on our right, the 2 club opening bid. So I would not lead a black card. So it's simply choosing between which rubbish red suit we want to lead from. We could lead the second heart in, second because we have a poor suit, not a low one to promise an honour, or we could lead top of a doubleton. If I'm honest, it's much of a muchness. I think top of a doubleton's fine. I think leading second down from the heart suit is fine. Doesn't really matter. My instinct is top of a doubleton. It's unlikely we're ever going to get a ruff, but it is a bit of a guess, to be honest. It could be right to lead a heart or a diamond, or maybe either is fine, or maybe neither is fine. What I definitely know is I'm not leading a club or a spade. I'm going to suggest top of a doubleton diamond, but a second heart down would also be fine. So I'm going to start with the 6 of diamonds. Okay, so down goes the dummy. A rubbish dummy though it is, unfortunately. Okay, so we're in 4 spades. We see our partner's dummy, and we are very pleased that we didn't try slam bidding because our partner has got a really bad hand, unfortunately. We look like we're potentially going to lose 1 spade, 1 diamond, and maybe a club or 2, depends on what happens with regards to the ace of clubs. So we might lose a spade if the king of spades is a loser. We might lose a diamond depending on the king of diamonds. We might lose a club or 2 depending on the ace of clubs on top of our king. So whilst we do have a 3 loser, 1, 2, 3, we might actually lose 4 tricks because this king may not yield a club trick. And unfortunately for us, entries to the table are basically non-existent. We can just about maybe get there with the 9 of spades, which we'll talk about in a second. So we might not even make game here. If we lose the king of spades, the king of diamonds, and 2 clubs, we're going to go 1 off. So we need something friendly happening. We either need the king of spades to appear, we can kill it with the ace, or we need the queen of diamonds to win and them not make their king, or we need the ace of clubs to be played so that our king survives. So we either need the defence to help us to some degree, or we need some kind of good manipulation of the diamond suit or the club suit and to capitalise on the position of the cards. But game is definitely not certain, which is very rare given how good our hand is. It's simply that the dummy is so not useful. Change dummy's queen of diamonds to the king of diamonds and suddenly game makes kind of easily. So anyway, the opponents have led a diamond, so we've got to decide which diamond we're playing on this trick. We want to play something reasonably high because we want to try to fish out the king without losing our queen. If we play the queen, that could win if they've got the king from the hand that led, but the six of diamonds, A, doesn't look like an honour, doesn't look like they've led for an honour, and B, it's unlikely they would lead away from a king into our known strength. If we trust that the defenders are competent, we know that they shouldn't really be leading away from honours into the two club hand because they know we've got good cards here. So they're probably trying to find a more passive lead. So we could try the queen, very likely to get kinged. That's a possibility though. We could try the 10 and hope to fish out the king and therefore promote our queen. Given the fact they've led the 6, I've got the feeling the king and jack are probably both on my right, in which case whichever one I play, they will play the bigger one. The alternative is then try and play the 8 to fish out the king, but that's even less likely to work because then you need the 9 and the jack there. So I think the correct card here is the 10, hoping for the jack on our left and forcing the king out. You could try the queen, but it's less likely to work because the king is less likely to be from the hand that's led, more likely to have led from the jack than the king. So I would try the 10 to see what happens. Okay, so it's gone diamond lead with the 6. We've played the 10, trying to fish out the king, but unfortunately, as suspected, the king and jack are both here. Not a good start for us, so they're going to cover the jack, not the king that we wanted to see. Had we tried the queen, that would have also lost, as it happens, so we couldn't really win there. If we tried the 8, they would have played the 9, so whatever we did, we were doomed. So we win the ace. Looks like we're going to lose a diamond. That's okay, because we've still got chances. Now the problem we have here is we would like to draw the trumps, and we would like to take a finesse if we could in spades, but unfortunately we can't get there. We can't arrive at the dummy to be able to lead spades through to be able to try the finesse, because we just can't get to the table. There's no way of getting there. There is one very strange way, I suppose, which will be to play the ace, king and queen of hearts and trump the third heart winner to be able to get the lead there. But that's pretty odd. I suppose we could try that, but that also takes a risk that someone else might be trumping hearts, etc. So I think the correct play here is to play the ace of spades, which I know is uncomfortable because we know the king probably won't drop, but drive out the king of spades. Play the ace and then the queen to force the king out. So I would play the ace of spades. If we could get to the dummy, I would of course prefer to go over there and then run the 9 of spades through. So ace of spades first. We see a low spade from everyone. That's not surprising. The king didn't drop, so we didn't get very lucky there, but that's okay. We know we're going to lose the king of spades. We suspected that anyway. We're now going to lead the queen of spades to try and force the king out. This has the hidden advantage of setting the 9 of spades up as a winner, as a vital entry to the table to be able to potentially play a club towards our king as a later finesse, hoping the ace of clubs is here. So, queen of spades, they take the king, and play low, and this hand throws something away. Let's say a diamond. Doesn't particularly matter what this hand throws, to be honest. So we've lost that one. And this hand has just won. Now the key moment has arrived. This defender needs to be passive. They need to not play clubs. They need to do their best job of not giving anything away, and a club would allow us to win the king, so they need to be passive. There's several ways they can do that. It's basically anything other than a club. Spade back to us is fine, a diamond to their partner's king is also fine, and a heart happens to be fine, but you wouldn't necessarily know that. So I would be leading a spade or a diamond here. I would lead a diamond just because it looks the most safe, and we might be able to get a diamond ruff depending on the position of the diamonds. We know now from their 6 and 3 lead that whatever diamond we play, if we trust the defenders to have led properly, we know the queen's going to lose to the king and the 8's going to lose to the 9. Worth a try, I suppose, to maybe try the 8. We know the king is certainly not on our left. They cover the 9. That's unfortunate. So we then lose that one. Okay. Now by covering the 9, we have given them a bit of awkward position here, because if they play the king of diamonds, we can trump it, and trump it high to make sure we don't get over-trumped. Cross over to the 9 of spades, and then cash the queen of diamonds as a winner, throwing a club away. So this defender needs to also be passive and not give us any tricks. If they try to cash the king of diamonds, we trump it, it sets the queen up for us. So they need to do something that's not helpful. They could play a low club, but that might actually help us, might help us do some kind of finesse. So I think the best thing to do here, lead the jack of hearts. Top of a sequence, doesn't give anything away, pierces through declarer's hearts if there's any interest. Now in this instance, doesn't matter, declarer's got winning hearts, but it makes declarer do the work themselves. So win the heart, like so. Now we cross to dummy spade, carefully preserve 9 of spades. This hand throws something away, probably a heart. So we've now got to the table for the first and only time we're ever going to get there. So now our entire game hinges upon the position of the ace of clubs. If we play a diamond and trumpet, or a heart and finish here, we're definitely going to lose 2 club tricks. We've already lost the king of spades and a diamond. We cannot afford to lose 2 clubs. Our only chance now is to play a low club to the king, hoping for the ace of clubs on the right. The defence have been ultra passive, they've made us do all of our work. We are now all in on the club finesse. If we play a club to the 10, that will far too likely lose to the queen or the jack, then we'll lose the ace. So we simply have to just all of our eggs in the basket of club to the king, hope the ace is on the right. If we play a club, this hand plays low, as predicted. Of course, if they play the ace of clubs, that solves the problem, not that they have it. We play the king. If this dies to the ace, which it does, we're off. The ace of clubs gets played. We lose the king of clubs to the ace, our finesse fails, and unfortunately for us, the defenders now have an inescapable club winner. Even if they are more passive and they play a heart, we cannot escape losing a club to the queen, or jack as the case may be. So we've actually lost 4 tricks. We lost the diamond we were hoping to avoid because the diamonds were all positioned wrong. We lost the spade because we couldn't get to dummy to do the finesse, even though that would have also lost. And we lost the club because the ace of clubs was wrong. So king of spades was wrong, king and jack of diamonds were wrong, and the ace of clubs was wrong. Every single card was in the wrong place. So we were doomed to fail, I'm afraid. A 2-club opener that couldn't make game, a very rare occurrence, but with this club loser, we lose 4 tricks and we are 1 off.